That's right. Look. Come on now, look. Remember, I just came up for one drink, then I got to go home. Those lines sound familiar? No, the dog's up. Who cares? Yes. I hope you have color at home. I really do.
Isn't that a beautiful coat, though?
Yeah.
Made by Congolium.
Anyway, you sound in a good mood. We have a good show tonight. I mentioned last night on the show, our executive producer, Mr. Fred DeCordova, is being followed all over, I guess, the past couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. People magazine is doing, I suppose, a big article.
In depth.
In depth. And today they captured Fred making the weightiest decision of the week. Should he drive to work in the Caddy or the Mercedes? You know what? You're out here, a lot of them out of town. One of the things you can see if you want to go out to the beach now, the whales, this is true, the whales are migrating. What not? Nothing funny about a whale migrating, but they pass down, I guess they go down to the Gulf of Mexico, and they weigh about, what? They're 50 feet in length, weigh about 40 tons, and I guess they go down there to mate. I'm trying to, you know how whales mate? They only have one position, and unfortunately, this was recently learned by a nuclear submarine. They had a big earthquake in Hawaii yesterday, did they not? Something like 6.8? You know, they have great entertainment in Hawaii, but you don't want to stay there while the hotel is doing the hula. Surfers finally found the perfect wave. It came out of the bathroom sink. Today is the day I believe that they sponsor the Great American Smokeout. Yeah. How many of you are familiar with that? Okay. You get out of here. Last year, apparently, 4.5 million smokers stopped smoking, made it through the entire day. I mean, it's interesting. How many of you are, let's take my own poll here. How many of you are trying to quit smoking? Nobody? How many have been able to quit? How many are busy trying to quit breathing in Los Angeles? I'll be honest with you. I observed the smokeout. I got up this morning, I put my cigarettes in the drawer, went outside, took a big, deep breath of fresh ocean air, and chewed the railing off the porch. I have some good news and some bad news. Well, the bad news, as you women probably know, the ERA amendment was defeated in Congress. The good news is Congress has to stay in session because they're scared to go home to their wives. Going through the supermarket checkout line today.
Really?
Yeah. I did. I saw a tableau. It had my picture, my little small picture, not a big picture. And inside, this was interesting. How many of you saw that article? It has to do with my relation to former President Nixon. They followed the lineage, and apparently, Richard Nixon and I are cousins. True, it's quite down. It's about eighth cousin, but we are cousins. And as soon as Nixon heard that, I got a call from Nixon's lawyer, and Dick wants $10,000 a month for shaving cream. But let me make this perfectly clear. I am not a cousin. The big picture in the newspaper today was the picture of President Reagan. Did you see that? They released a picture on the wire service, showed President Reagan putting out acorns for the squirrels outside of the Oval Office. Apparently he goes up to Camp David, brings the acorns back, goes out, puts them out for the squirrels. And George Bush got very angry. Said the president's trying to strip him of all his jobs. That's so... Unfortunately, the squirrels could not eat the acorns because all their teeth fell out from the jelly beans the president gave them last year. You ever try to gum an acorn? Now, the president has been feeding the squirrels, I guess, for 3 years, but he has not been able to win them over. Squirrels keep asking, what happened to the guy with the Georgia accent who raised the nuts? Okay, we try. On the political scene, Alan Cranston from California, as you know, is running for president. And did you see he has a new look? He's dyed his hair black. Yeah, he's going after the youth vote. And I don't mind him dyeing his hair black, but to compete with Jesse Jackson, he also got a Mr. T mohawk haircut. Alan Cranston said that the movie The Day After will probably help his campaign. John Glenn seems to think that the movie The Right Stuff will help him in his presidential campaign. Harold Stassen is hoping that they'll reissue Golden Pond. I wasn't too sure of that one myself. Mondale is after the youth vote. Today he filmed a rock video with Michael Jackson. When I get close to one of these, just let me know. Jesse Jackson is seeking the older vote. Today he got the support of the last surviving ink spot. So it's really starting to... All right. Anyway, we got a good show for you. We have a lovely lady, beautiful actress, Miss Lynn Redgrave is here this evening. We have a very funny young comedian who's been with us several times, Jerry Seinfeld. And a charming gentleman by the name of Ernest St. George. He is 92 years old. He is responsible for quite a few inventions. He was married, I guess, for the second time when he was 87. So I guess he's considered a newlywed. And the mighty Carson Art players are going to take another shot at it. So we'll be right back. Thank you. We'll be right back. Thank you. Hello there. Good show. As I mentioned, this first gentleman, he's 92-year-old. He was an inventor from Houston. I don't know whether he's still active inventing or not, but he's had a very interesting life. So we thought you might like to share some of his experiences. Would you welcome Ernest St. George? How are you, sir?
Very good, Johnny. Very good.
We just had a chance to briefly say hello in the makeup room. Have you ever had makeup on before?
Oh, yes. About 70 years ago.
Yeah.
I was in vaudeville. And
somebody mentioned you were in vaudeville.
Yeah.
What'd you do in vaudeville?
Well, I had an act, a big act.
Yeah?
I was closing. I put Ken Murray in show business.
Is that a fact?
Yes. He was 19 years of age. It was 1925. And I was in New York, got from Australia to New York, and I was looking for a comedian. So my agent told me there's Ken Murray around looking for a job.
Right.
I said to Ken, I interviewed him, and he said, very good. And I said, how much? He said, I want $100 a week.
Wow.
I said, all right.
That's pretty good sized money in those days, wasn't it? Ken Murray did the blackouts out here for many years, didn't he? For about 20 or 30 years. Yeah. What kind of an act did you have?
It was an act. I tell you how it happened, Johnny. I was an electrician, and I wanted to come to America at any cost.
You were in Australia at that time?
I was in Australia, and of course nobody can get an American, especially in those days. So I said, well, let me make a vaudeville act. And actors got in, you see. Right. So I made a vaudeville act, and accidentally I tipped a statue over and broke to pieces. And I said, that's what I'll do in my vaudeville act. And I did it. I made a statue, a real woman, fell over, broke to pieces, come back together again, and went down and bowed and won.
And that's the way you got to this country?
That's what I did for 15 years.
Well, that's good. I didn't know that. You mentioned in makeup, you said you had a few butterflies now.
Oh, you down there?
No,
Plenty.
At 92, I thought you'd seen everything. Nothing would give you the butterflies.
I've done everything too, Johnny. Everything but prostitution. I've done that.
Well, maybe time left for that. Who knows? Have you watched the Tonight Show at all?
Oh, hell of a time. I'm your pet.
Really?
It's the day since they kicked Pa out. I waited for you, and it seemed to be a long time. But finally you came on.
Yeah.
And I watched the show for 25 years.
Well, that's remarkable.
No,
isn't that
what I like, facts. There's one thing you do, Johnny.
Yeah.
When you lay an egg, you get out of it so beautifully.
Well, we lay a few of those once in a while. How do you manage to stay up that late? How do you stay so healthy?
Now in Houston,
That's 10:30
in comes on at 10:30.
That's right.
And I always found time. Now, I really.
You look in remarkably good health.
Oh, I am.
Any tricks?
Oh, I am.
Any tricks to staying healthy?
Yeah. Well, I work very hard, 7 days a week. Nighttime, I have a couple of schnapps, a couple of good martinis, and then sometimes a little sex. Get a bigger laugh than
that. Good for you. That beats Jane Fonda's workout book, I'll tell you that. That's wonderful. That keeps the heart going, doesn't it? A little schnapps.
No,
a little sex, maybe, too. I don't know.
Yeah, it does now.
No, this was your second marriage, I understand.
Yeah, second marriage. I was married for 65 years. My wife died in Hong Kong. And I was making many trips to America because I was a broker. See, I was exporting.
Uh-huh.
And my great friend of mine, Helen Curtis, and she said, Ernie, I want you to go to Houston and meet a little lady. This is after my wife died.
You're 87 at that time.
Yes. And so I went to Houston, and I met this sweet little lady 3 days after I married her.
3 days?
Yeah.
That's not exactly what you'd call a long courtship. How come so sudden?
Well, I was anxious to get married. I was married 65 years, and then to stop, it was pretty tough.
Yeah.
It was really tough, you see. And especially, I got to tell you this, my wife in Hong Kong, she died. I made a trip from America back to Hong Kong, and I told the nurse, she had 2 nurses, and she was very sick. And I was looking at television, and she died. Now, here's the sad part. There was nobody else in the room when she died. So when I called 999, the police, everybody was in the room, do you see? And now they accused me of killing him.
Oh, no.
After marriage 65 years. So I had to go to, finally I got out of it, yes. That's the law over there. Nobody was witnesses to
I see. Well, that's remarkable.
Yes,
I would never thought of such a thing.
Oh, that was a bad one, and I thought that. So finally, that's when I came back, and then 2 days after I met Vera, and then I got married.
I met your wife in the hall a moment ago.
You did?
She looks like a very lovely lady.
Yeah, lovely.
How's the marriage going? Okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Johnny, you look terrific.
Yeah, you don't.
You look terrific. Now, I've seen you.
I'm trying to learn how you do this. You don't have any fights or anything? No fights. Okay. No. We're going to come back. We have to do a commercial, then we're going to come back and talk a little bit. Okay, stay where you are. We'll be right back. We are back. If you just joined us, we are talking with Mr. Ernest St. George. Let's talk a little bit about these inventions. They gave me a couple of things to ask you about now. You had something to do or invented a 05 recording camera?
Yeah, that's right.
Now, what was that?
That's a camera that, getting near the end of the war in Europe, the Nazis had hidden secrets for their gasoline and their planes.
Right.
And they were playing hell with the Russians. They couldn't, the Allies couldn't find them.
Right.
But when they put my camera that I invented on there for the 729s, they found them.
I see.
When they went over next day and bombed the hell out of them. So my camera settled that.
I didn't know that.
Now, after the Europe was gone, and now we're speaking about Japan.
Right.
Roosevelt wanted to do it the hard way, go in with troops and go and take it. Now, he could have done it with my camera because they could find out where the Japanese had there and find it and then go over and bomb instead of killing millions of people.
Right.
Well, the bad luck, that Truman... Roosevelt died, and
Right.
Truman come in. Well, what Truman did, you know, he dropped the bomb.
Right.
And killed thousands, millions of Japanese poor kids and
Right.
everything, see, of course. And that was the end of that.
You thought your
And
camera
then
might
that would cancel my contract, because I had a $5 million contract going to make these cameras to find them.
Uh-huh.
Do you see? And, of course, that was all canceled when Truman got in, do you see?
All right. Now, what's about the car heater?
The what?
The newsreel camera and the car heater?
Yes, before I made this camera, I made a regular newsreel camera. 2 of them I sold NBC after the war. They had 2 of my cameras.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yes.
We may be using him right here in the studio. So you invented that, huh? And sold it to NBC.
Yeah. Oh, I've been mixed up with a lot, Johnny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've done pretty good, but spent the money. I'm a bouncing ball, up and down. I've made a number of fortunes, up to $1 million, but I lost them all. I'm happy about losing them.
What?
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Really?
I'm making one right now.
Oh, really?
Making a television camera. It's fabulous. Every newsreel man, not newsreel man, every cameraman has a camera, apparently. Well, I'm making a motor he can attach to his camera and to make his own commercials, his own stop motion, his own cartoons.
Have you been doing this since you were a young man?
Yeah, since I was 12 years of age. I've had film in those hands 80 years ago.
Yeah.
80 years ago.
How did you manage to make money and then lose it? What would you invest it in?
Well, such as with the wire recorder. With the right after the war, I had $1 million.
A wire recorder. That was the first, before the tape. I remember those, a little thin wire.
Right after the war, I had $1 million, a big machine shop, and everything going good. And I had a swollen head, and money was burning in my pockets.
Yeah.
So I said, so I got a license, and I made wire recorders. The first one to make wire recorders. Yeah. I got a contract from Sears Roebuck for $500,000. And they waited in line, blocks long, to buy them. And they bought them, and then all of a sudden they started to come back to Sears. Now, Sears get as many as they sold back. The reason why? They were no damn good.
Well, that's...
That's a fact, though. See,
that'll put a crimp in the old inventors.
No, here's the secret, Johnny. See, wire, there's one wire and there's the other wire.
Yeah.
Well, we say that's sound, that's music, and that's speech.
Yeah.
Well, that music went through to that after it's magnetized. Now, with tape, it can't do it. See, because it's insulated by plastic.
Yeah.
See, these are sound with tape.
Yeah.
And there's plastic there.
Yeah.
So it can't do it.
Didn't work, huh?
Didn't work. Well, billions of dollars was lost. Sears did lose $6 million.
Yeah.
And I lost $1.5 million.
Yeah.
Not kidding.
When you had money, did you go out and spend it on silly things?
Yes, a little.
Like what?
Oh, well, no, not exactly silly. I'd buy... take a lot of people out to eat and do all that and have a few drinks and may hit a bus or something with a car and then paid my way out of it. See, I'm getting some belly out. Johnny, I'm writing a book.
You're writing a book about this?
Oh, you've got to take me back here when I write that book.
Sure.
You will?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to hold you now on your word.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
I'm committed, I guess.
Now, you heard it.
I heard him, yes.
This is going to be all about your life and your career and...
Yes, everything. Right up from when I was 12 years of age.
Yeah, well, you've seen a lot.
I was a assistant projections at 12 years of age.
You've had a lot of things.
In Australia.
Is there anything now, in 92 years, or anything you're looking forward to doing you have never done? Any challenges?
No, I've done everything, truly, Johnny. Everything.
Really?
I'm going to repeat it, but prostitution.
But
we
prostitution.
may have a shot at that.
Yeah, well... So there's
didn't get a laugh.
No, well...
Didn't get a laugh.
Well, you haven't worked in 70 years. You know, you lose your timing after 70 years. You can't go from vaudeville in 1983. You ever thought of going back?
I played the Palace twice.
You played the Palace in New York?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Headline, huh?
I had some big ones on. I played with Van Skank, played with Eva Tangway. Now, you can remember some.
I remember those names.
Eva Tangway.
Freddie knows.
Bill Baker.
Freddie used to bring pizza up to Eva Tangway at night. But those were big acts.
Johnny, let me go before I lose them all for you.
It's nice to have you here.
Likewise.
Really, I enjoyed talking with you. And when you do the book,
Oh,
you'll come back and we'll talk about the book.
thank you, John.
Go
I
on.
want to tell you one thing. You're
Yeah.
fabulous.
Well,
truly.
it's very nice of you to
From
say.
the bottom of my heart. I've loved you for years.
Thank you.
And when I saw you today, I know when I saw him, I recognized him immediately, do you see? But you had that one thing. I'm going to repeat.
Yeah.
I'm going to repeat. There's no one living, no comedian living. You can
well,
take you
no,
can
come on
take
now.
them all.
Yeah.
Burns and Allen, take any of them. No one gets out of a mess but you.
Well, I thank you for coming tonight. Thank you, Mr. St. George.
Thank you, Doctor. If you watch, yes, you may applaud Doc Severinsen and the great NBC Orchestra. If you watch Monday Night Football regularly, you know that Howard Cosell recently took a 2-week vacation, and O.J. Simpson filled in for him on the air. We wondered what would have happened if during Cosell's vacation he was replaced not by O.J., but by another celebrity from outside the world of sports.
Hello, everybody. I'm Stu Nahan, and it's a beautiful night for football in Los Angeles. The temperature about 62 degrees. As usual, I'll be doing the play-by-play. But filling in for Howard Cosell is our new color man this week, William F. Buckley. Welcome. Good to have you here, Mr. Buckley.
Thank you, Mr. Nahan. I'm extremely gratified to be here this evening. In fact, as I was entering the City of Angels, I was reminded of nothing so much as the immortal words of Julius Caesar, he was crossing the Rubicon, turned to his centurion and said, Jacta alia est. The die is cast.
Oh.
Yes.
We've got a pretty good matchup tonight, don't you agree?
Well, I would postulate that both sets of gladiators, if you would let me continue in the Roman metaphors that were, are indeed reasonably comparable in their level of athletic acumen.
But Jack Youngblood of the Rams is down on the field. Can you see what that injury might be, Bill?
Well, it appears to me that Mr. Youngblood might find it difficult to exercise his conjugal prerogatives.
I don't quite follow you.
He got kneed in the macadamias.
Oh. Well, Youngblood appears to be okay right now. All right. Los Angeles is lining up in a nickel defense.
Well, as you know, I'm opposed to the nickel defense. I prefer tax-free municipal bonds. They provide better capital growth investment. Yes, indeed.
Right you are, Bill. There's a fumble right there. Carl Eckern for the Rams picks up the ball, comes up with it, and he's down to the Seattle 45-yard line. Boy, for a linebacker, Eckern can really carry and lug that pigskin.
Well, as my esteemed predecessor Howard Cosell would say, that little simian can accelerate with considerable velocity.
Hang on a minute there. There's a flag on the play right down
I
there.
certainly hope it's not an American flag. I mean, given the national media's obsession with espousing third world causes.
Oh, what do you have on tap for us at halftime tonight, Bill? Perhaps some NFL action of some of the week's highlights?
I'm going to debate Billy White Shoes Johnson on whether or not Socrates approved of spiking the ball following a touchdown.
About the cheerleaders? You have an opinion about those cheerleaders down there?
Well, Mr. Nahan, I can only draw a parallel between the proportions of their mammary development and the configurations of the Egyptian pyramids.
What exactly do you mean?
I beg your pardon?
I say, what exactly do you mean?
They've got a great set of honkers.
All right, we're back to the action now. Let's take a look at it. There's the snap, Ferragamo, and he's rolling off to his left right now.
To the left? Please don't associate me with anything that might be going to the left. I can't stand it. Good night, Mr. Nahan. Thank you very much.
We'll be right
Nothing
back.
to that.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Proclivity.
A silly idea, isn't it? Yes. Buckley at the football game. There's the kickoff. We're back. Of course we're back. What does I say? Lynn Redgrave is going to be with us shortly, but right now we have a young man who has been with us before. He's a fine young comedian. Tomorrow night, November the 18th, he's going to be appearing with Andy Williams in Evansville, Indiana. November the 19th, he'll be at the Marriott Hotel in Santa Clara, California. And on December the 3rd, he'll be at the Fairmont in Oakland, California. Would you welcome Jerry Seinfeld? Jerry?
Thank you. Well, I'll tell you something about television. It's getting scary. It's getting scary. I was watching That's Incredible. They had a guy on who caught a bullet between his teeth. I'm not making this up. Anybody see this guy? The guy this is his act. He catches a bullet between his teeth. Number one, how do you learn to do this? Do they toss it to you a few times? Throw it at the guy? What's the warm-up? Put it in the gun? Okay, Bill, this one's going to be coming a little bit faster now. You know what I really feel badly about? That I can't remember this guy's name. He caught a bullet between his teeth. You know, I saw him do it. I forgot his name. Now, if he knew that I forgot his name after watching him do that, wouldn't he feel like, what the hell do I have to do to really impress this guy? Catch a cannonball in the eye? I'll tell you this, if you're a burglar, this is definitely a house you don't want to break into, you know? You don't want to surprise this guy in the middle of the night, have to shoot him in the bedroom, he comes walking out. I think you got the wrong house, pal. What was that, a 22? I hate those. I go to the movies a lot more than I used to. I love the movies. Although I find the theaters confusing, sometimes I sit there and I don't know if I'm in a specially selected theater or just a theater near you. I used to be afraid of the theater near you. How do they know where I am? What if I move? Everybody knows the specially selected theaters because they have that very expensive candy, you know you're going to get killed on the candy price when they put it in the glass case, because now they think they're selling you jewelry. I got to walk up to the guy. I'd like to see something in a milk dud if I could. Nothing too garish, of course. Sometimes the guy will take out one milk dud, put it on a black velvet display board there. Gee, that's a beauty, honey. What do you think? That's a 2-carat dud. Take a look at that. We've been looking around a lot. I think we should go for something nice. And who buys the horse bucket-sized popcorn? I don't need that quantity of anything. It's a huge, it comes with ear hook things that you can put it on there. Kind of wear it like a feed bag. It's got to be the people that sit in the front row, you know? You sit in the front row, you're watching faces 20 feet tall all that time. By the time you get out to the candy counter, they give you popcorn that big. You go, yeah, that's about right, thanks. My head is this big, right? The important thing is to go out. Go to the movies. Go wherever you go. You know, get out. People, you know, your clothes like getting out. You know, it's the biggest... Because what do? Your clothes their entire lives. They wait. Everything in your wardrobe that you're not wearing right now is home, waiting, hoping to get picked tomorrow. That's what... You know what your clothes like the best? Laundry day. You know, that's when they get to do things, and you wait for them. You put the clothes in the machine. That's a nightclub for clothes. It's dark. You're dancing around in there, you know. They always seem to be having such fun. The shirt grabs the underwear. Come on, babe. And then an article, there's always an article from someone else's laundry, ends up in yours. Hey, who's that? Good dance. I wish I had that much fun getting clean. I stand there in the shower. Shower can be a little weird. Ever have? I had some people staying over my house one time, and you ever have this? They go in the shower, and then you go in the shower a couple hours later, and one of their little hairs is stuck on the wall of the shower. You know, you want to get rid of it, but you don't want to touch it. I don't know how it got up that high in the first place. And you have to do something, right? And we all do the same thing, I bet. First, then you take the shower head, aim it at the hair. That never works. You have to get a pool of water from under the shower and over to the hair. Get it down a foot at a time like that, but you don't have to touch it. That's the most important thing in your life at this time. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's clever material.
Oh, thank you.
Good,
thank
clever
you.
stuff.
I feel funny tonight.
Why's that?
I don't know. I'm trying to get out of I got robbed.
Somebody mentioned that to me.
Yeah.
Really?
I really did.
That's dramatic.
It's very, it was my car. They took the stereo out of the they break the glass and they took the stereo out. And so my friends, they said, you got to call the police. So I called the police. I told them the stereo was stolen out of my car. They were, of course, shocked. They never heard of a thing like this happening, apparently. I had to console the officer that I spoke to. But there's just nothing that can be done about it. We live in a huge city here. It's not like Batman where there's 4 crooks. Everybody pretty much knows who they are. What was it, a Sony? Probably the Penguin.
The Joker got that, yeah. That's the trouble with those things. You put that, they spot that stereo and Rip City right now.
Always trying to protect your things, But it doesn't work, this is a dumb thing I always do. When I go to the beach, before I go in the water, I put my wallet in the sneaker, Who's gonna know, right? What criminal mind could penetrate this fortress of security?
That's really A1 safety.
Yeah. Or I put my TV set in the back of the car. You ever move a TV set and you put it in the back of the car and you put a sweater over it? Just a couple of sweaters, that's all. One of them happens to be square with antenna. It's a sweater.
Who would know? Yeah. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Good stuff. My next guest, I'm sure you all know. Lynn Redgrave, as you know, is a very talented actress. She's had great success in films, television, the theater. And she comes, of course, from a legendary theatrical family. Her father, Sir Michael Redgrave, has written a book called In a Mind's Eye, an autobiography, an actor's autobiography. She's here to discuss her father and his book. Would you welcome Lynn Redgrave? Good to see you again.
Thank you. Yes, nice to be here again.
I want to ask you about this, because sometimes when children grow up, they find out more about their parents later in life.
Yes.
Than they do when they were young. I found out that was true with my father. As I got older, there's things I didn't know about him. Did you find out things that you were not aware of?
Yes,
hidden secrets or something?
Well, I don't know about hidden secrets. There's a certain episode in My Mind's Eye, which I suppose I sort of knew about, and that's when my dad played in As You Like It in London many years ago, in the, I guess, late 30s, I suppose it was. I'm trying to think. Yes, it was, because it was when... and Dame Edith Evans, who was then not Dame Edith Evans, played Rosalind, and she was 50 at the time.
Right.
My father was considerably younger, and apparently she gave the most breathtaking performance. You forgot in a second that she was 50, you believed she was a young girl in love. And it turns out that, yes, she was in love. She was very much in love with my father, and they had long correspondence and many meetings, and a very close relationship indeed. And I don't think I really knew that.
What do you say, many meetings? I mean, I'm not trying...
Well, I'm British, Johnny, and I don't like to talk about these things too boldly. I mean, you'd say an affair, I suppose. You'd just go right out and call a spade a spade.
No, maybe a liaison or something
yes,
like that.
you put it so nicely.
Yes, a liaison.
Yes, a liaison, yes.
So...
But... I had a suspicion about it because, of course, I'd always heard about this wonderful production, which I was not born. I wasn't born at the time.
Right.
But when I was 20 years old, I was in a production at the National Theatre of Great Britain of Hay Fever, and it was directed by Noel Coward himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrote it, of course, and Dame Edith was to play the leading character. Maggie Smith was in it, myself. And she was very strange to me, Edith, at the time, or Dame Edith. She was, she called me the little Redgrave girl. She had this extraordinary voice. Little Redgrave girl going to wear that dress. She got very upset. I had a scene where I was given, it's all in the 20s, and I had this beautiful sort of petticoat yellow thing that frothed around, and I was given this one single white ostrich feather. And I loved it. I loved playing. I played this terrible flapper called Jackie, who had a lisp and called Mrs. Bliss all the time. And Noel Coward was wonderful to me, dear and encouraging and fabulous. And he liked me very much. Right. And she got very upset. She saw this feather in the scene. She
distracted.
Just a minute. No, little Redgrave girl going to wave that during my lines. And was very upset. I don't think she... And I began to think, why does she not like me? Why? I'm Michael's daughter. And then I thought... and that's when I think I knew.
She thought that you might have known about their...
I think she was just jealous.
Really?
That I was his child and anybody close to him, I think.
Yeah. Was your father a difficult man to live with?
Very difficult.
Actors are not easy to live with.
They're not.
Let me ask you something. You ever fall in love with one of your leading men? Talking about your father...
Well, I tell you, I fell in love with my husband while working with him, but he was playing a guy who was gay. So isn't that interesting? He was calling me sweetie. He thought, you see, we were in this television play together, and I was playing a debutante, and sort of British and all like that. Right. And he played my assistant, who kept calling me sweetie. Mm-hmm. And he said, hello, sweetie. Well, you've seen my husband. He's bearded and quite masculine looking. Right. I hope you like this description, darling, if you like.
Yes. But prior to that, did you ever fall in love?
I think
Or have a crush, or...
Yes, I had crushes. I tell you who I had a crush on. I had a big crush on James Mason in Georgia Girl. I had a mammoth crush on him. And, of course, I was several years his junior. Yes. And he was sweet to me and dear. And I was mad about him.
Yeah. Many meetings?
No, never any meetings. Only on the set. Never any meetings. No meetings.
I like that term.
I'd rather quite a few meetings,
A few meetings. Well, you know the old Hollywood term. They're always saying, I'm taking a meeting. Agents always say, I'm taking a meeting with the head of Fox. Well, we know what they mean now, don't we?
Certainly like to meet you.
Yes.
It's
a whole new meaning now, doesn't it?
Yeah,
yes, I'll never be able to say that.
Anyway, how was your father difficult? It was when he was working, I assume, and involved in a...
He was very schizophrenic in his behavior. If he was playing... Strindberg or one of the Shakespeare,
something heavy?
Something really heavy, or a murderer or anything like that. He was impossible.
Brought it home?
Brought it home. Lived it. Brought it home. We would get up in the morning, the three children, Vanessa, Corin, and I, and it would be tiptoe, shh, Father's playing last night, shh. And if we made any noise, which of course we did, being children, this huge voice would thunder down. It was very frightening. I mean, I used to be very scared of him when he played those. But if he was playing a comedy, then, of course, then he was the great father, going for walks, and the head was back. And we used to bring home, any time he'd play Broadway or come to Hollywood and make a movie, he'd bring back the latest hit album, from musical shows. And I remember when he brought back Guys and Dolls, and thank God when he brought it back, he was playing a comedy, because he then played the album to us, and then played all the songs. And we used to sing. If you can imagine the three little British Redgraves singing I Got the Horse Right Here in 3-part harmony. Nice. It was good. It was nice. You'd have liked it. You'd have put us up.
Coming from a theatrical family, was it almost in the cards that you would become an actress? I mean,
well, I thought it, I think, because everybody said to me, I suppose you're going to be an actor. And my sister was always expected to be an actress. Always. And my brother, I think they expected that. Right. And I kept saying no, because I was shy, and also I didn't want to do the same as all those generations.
Were you shy?
Yes, I was very shy. Yeah. But when at home, my brother and sister were always play acting stuff. This was before we didn't have television till we were about... I suppose when I was about 13, my father finally succumbed and put a television in the house. Right. So we did a lot of entertaining ourselves and play acting. And interestingly enough, my sister, whose politics I'm sure you have heard of, used to play the President of the United States in most of these things.
Those sketches I wish I'd have seen.
You'd have liked these sketches.
Those sketches.
And my brother would be the Speaker of the House or something like that.
That's great training.
And I would be the butler or the dog or something like that. So I don't think people expected very much of me,
Aren't you going to do Cleopatra coming up soon?
I am. And you showed the cover of the
Yeah.
book, but it's a wonderful picture of my father as Antony in Antony and Cleopatra, and I'm about to play Cleopatra.
On the stage?
No, on television.
Television?
Because there's a company called Bard Productions who are putting all of Shakespeare's works on video cassette
Good,
and
great
distributed
face.
through
Great
Encyclopedia
face, your
Canada.
father, yeah.
Do you know I don't have an Antony yet?
You don't
Are
have an
available?
Antony?
No. Are you
Friends,
available?
Romans, countrymen.
No, wrong play. That's
Wrong
Julius
play.
Caesar. But it's not bad. It's pretty.
Well, who knows? I could give it a shot.
Would you like to?
It might be a little old for Anthony.
We could have some meetings.
Me? Nobody explained the part to me like that. Yeah. So you have to find Anthony, and then...
I'm going to find Antony, and then I'm going to start right after Thanksgiving and give my Queen of the Nile.
Oh, I like that. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Thank you, Doc. We're back. We have about a minute. The book is just out.
The book is just out. My father has Parkinson's disease and can't travel to this country
I
and
didn't
publicize
realize
it.
that.
Yes, so that's why I'm beating the drum for him.
Well, please give him our best, will you?
Yes,
I hope
I
it's a
will.
big success for you. We're interested in reading this.
Yeah.
Are you going to ever
It's
sit
good
down and write
Christmas
your
present.
autobiography?
About my meetings?
Well, no, I didn't say that.
Maybe.
But possibly.
No, I don't. I shouldn't think so. Maybe when I'm 95.
Anyway, much success with Cleopatra, and I hope you find your Antony.
Yes, thank you.
All
I
right.
shall look no further.
All right, Jerry, you're headed for...
Evansville, Illinois, Indiana.
Right.
Evansville, Indiana. It gets kind of the same out there, but I enjoy it.
Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.